Welcome to Ask the Good Doctor. We are here for your health on Siriusxm UrbanView, Ch.126. I am Dr.LaJoyce Brookshire, sharing gems about how to attain, maintain, and reclaim your perfect health. Please join me on Twitter at Ask the Good Doc. This is going to be a hot conversation today, and on Instagram and Facebook at Ask the Good Doctor. Our program is really kind of taking a diversion, though, about something which deeply affects the human condition, and that is preparing for the death process. Now, I don't want you to change the channel. Yes, we're going to discuss it because too many of us sweep it under the rug and never have the discussion. So today we're going to confront it head on. And one of the ways we can prepare is through ensuring that we have adequate insurance. Here to have this discussion is Siriusxm UrbanView's very own Sylvia Kay Alston, host of Next Nation and also known as Cousin Seal from the Karen Hunter Show. Hi, Sylvia. Welcome.
Hey, I'm so glad to be here with you. This has been a long time in the making.
It certainly has.
So I'm excited.
It has been. And also joining us by phone whenever we get our technical difficulties straightened out is Pat Gale from the Dignity Association in Chicago. Hello, Pat. You can hear me, but I don't know if we can hear her yet, but they're working on it. But Sylvia, I have to tell you that you actually programmed this show today.
I did.
You did, because I was driving on Sunday, driving around listening to the Sunday Fabulous lineup.
It's an amazing lineup.
Oh my gosh. I don't want to get out the car, and then I don't want to exactly have my phone plugged in as I run around or sit in church. It's really yeah.
So can I tell you, I start the morning with your show because I'm not up when the minister's program is on, but I get up at 8 and I'll make dinner before I go to church.
Yes.
Because by the time we come home from church, folks are ready to eat.
Starving.
Yes. So I am preparing my meal when your show is on, and it's always a breath of fresh air, number one, but then also two, a wealth of information. So thank you for everything that you do.
Oh,
because I truly appreciate it.
Thank you so much. That makes me feel good.
It should.
I'm sorry you don't get. It's interesting because I was at a conference where Pastor Buster was
Suarez,
where Pastor Buster Suarez presented, and then there was another panel after his. And so the woman who did the panel after his said she was so wonderful as a moderator, and I told her later, you did a great job moderating. She said, I thought I would pass out when I found out I was going to be behind the Baptist preacher. I said, honey, I have to follow that every Sunday.
Every Sunday, exactly.
So, I understood.
Yes.
But thank you for that. But yes, you programmed this show today because you had a guest on the Next Nation show who was speaking some very interesting truths, which got me thinking. And I texted you to say, bravo, and you need to come on Ask the Good Doctor for a more in-depth conversation.
Yes.
So here we are today. We are here. We talk here a lot about perfect health, attaining it, maintaining it, and reclaiming it, which is why I can discuss that all day, every day. And that's a reason why I script my shows, because so I can present the substance to you in digestible pieces. So today I want us to think beyond perfect health. I want us to think about end of life. I want you to think about death and dying. These are easy conversations for me to have also because, as I've said before, I'm also a hospice chaplain, which rounds out how I view humans as having a mind, body, and spirit. And this is why I like to say I'm licensed, degreed, certified, and ordained in the things of mind, body, and spirit. And in my chaplain work, I see that people are unprepared to die. Now, this may sound like an oxymoron, but we have a unique opportunity to prepare for end of life while we are in the best state of our lives.
Right.
And if you are listening to my voice, I want you to know this. Death will not escape any of us. And when and how, it is up to God, because only He has the final say. But the conversation I want to discuss is to get you thinking about death. Have you thought about it? Death is a part of the human condition which affects us deeply, especially when a loved one dies. Now, there are two valuable tools that you should know about in the event that help you to gather important information, personal information and paperwork that assist you and your family members or others acting on your behalf in the event of your illness, injury, incapacity. That's a big one, or death. And these documents also help you in carrying out your end-of-life wishes. One is called the 5 wishes. I'm sure many people have heard of that, but if you haven't, then the other is called Notes to My Family. And both are considered legal documents. And quite simply, they're guides to help. They ask questions to help you plan end-of-life issues. So the 5 wishes is actually the number one living will in America. It's written in everyday language, and it helps people express their wishes in areas that matter the most, and the personal and spiritual, in addition to the medical and the legal. That's very important. It also helps you to describe what good care means to you, whether you are seriously ill or just incapacitated. Now, it allows your caregiver to know exactly what you want, and this allows you to prepare to die with dignity. Because how many of us say the last thing they want is to be shoved into a nursing home? Okay? If we become incapacitated, does your family even know what you want in case of that, but has no other option than to shove you in a nursing home? So if this is truly what you do not want, write it down and say so. The one thing that people never bother to consider prior to an illness is who the person was before the illness. Before that patient was a patient, who was that person? What kind of position did they have? Who were they in society? What was their social status? Just because a person has a life-threatening illness or disability, it does not mean that all of the things they want to be comfortable will just suddenly go away. That's not true. If you have not taken the time to write down your wishes, trust me, your desires will not be met. Your desires will be the desires of the people who are taking care of you, because they're guessing. We're asking that you consider this so you can take out the guesswork. So here is your homework. I want you to think about this. If you are unable to speak for yourself, what would you want others to know about you? What makes you most comfortable? What little thing brings you joy? What do you want done for you if you are able that you would do for yourself? Now, for me, I want you to get me up at 6 o'clock in the morning, no later than 7. Please dress me and shea butter me from head to toe. Turn my socks inside out because I hate the seam of the socks touching my toes. And what's that new sock that Karen's promoting?
Bombas.
Bombas. I'm going to have to get something because I heard they say seamless.
I heard they're amazing.
I was like, seamless? I need a seamless sock. I hate the seam on anything touching me. I want a cup of warm water and lemon, but please brush my teeth first. And I don't use fluoride toothpaste, so don't use any of that. I only drink water. Please do not try to give me juice or milk. I only drink water. Take me to the bathroom at least every hour and maximum every 2 hours until 8 o'clock at night. I want to pee. Don't leave me sitting in it. If I can't ask for it, just take me. I'm going to have to go. I would love to have a green smoothie every day. If I can still walk, please walk me outside at least once a day. No matter what the weather, especially in the snow, I want to go outside. I would love for the Bible and classic writings to be read to me daily with good music playing, from gospel to rap to jazz to R&B, and especially the artists I work with in the record business. Yeah, I want to hear that music so I can say, nod my head and say, I remember I did that. Yeah. I would need a salad and lots of vegetables every day, and only feed me wild caught fish and organic chicken. Give me a bath every night. Please bathe me every night and shea butter me from head to toe. Put me in bed with a remote control by 8 o'clock. And there is a guarantee that I'll be asleep by 9:30 every single night. That's just little stuff. But if you don't tell anybody that, who knows that?
Right.
Okay. My husband finally caught me putting my socks on backwards. He said, you know your socks are on backwards. I said, I always do that. He said, why? I didn't know that. And I said, and if you ever see that somebody put my socks on the other way, suspect foul play. So, Cecile, what if you were unable to speak for yourself? What would you want others to know about you?
So it's funny, while you were talking, I was sitting here imagining, because that's not something that I've ever put into place for myself. I definitely have a living will. I know what I want my final rights to look like. But I can tell you that I am a person who absolutely adores music. I love spa treatments. I love exfoliation, right? So I would want someone, and I'm thinking about this because I'm thinking about during the time that my dad was infirmed and ill, things that I did for him to keep his spirits up. And so definitely like cleansing of the skin with like a loofah and like a great peppermint oil. I know I would definitely want. I have a peppermint shea butter that's absolutely amazing. And it's made by a friend of mine who has a business. And that is really one of the things that I do to keep my skin in great working order.
I want some.
You want some? I will pick you up some. It's amazing. It's amazing. But I think I definitely water with lemon, tea. I'm sitting here with you. I'm drinking Red Zinger tea. Those are the things that I like. I love peppermint all the way around.
Yes.
So peppermint tea. I love the smell, the effervescent smell of peppermint in a room. I like clean smells.
Yes.
Right? So like a lemon and that those type of things make me feel good when I walk into a space. So I mean, I don't think besides that, and music, and just to see my kids, if they're young, still moving around and playing active, I would like to see be able to watch them move, moving. And then I do think I would want somebody to read to me. What probably self-help books. That's the genre I go to first.
Okay.
Yeah.
See?
And I've never thought about that really.
How about it?
Deeply before.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's a very simple exercise, and it's not a conversation that we have readily.
No.
Yeah. Until
you have
to have the conversation. And see, this is what we want to try to avoid. We don't want it to be, well, mama told me, and this, like in estate planning. I'll never forget, I went to a conference once, and the one woman taught, she said the 7 deadly words in estate planning are, but mama said I could have. Because if you don't have it written down, it does not exist.
It doesn't matter.
So, completing the 5 wishes or notes to my family also saves your family from struggling with the guilt trip.
Yes.
Yes. The guilt of making decisions for you, should you become unable to make decisions for yourself. Now, do this for your family's sake and for your own. And now, an advanced directive, I'm sure that's a term perhaps that you've heard if you've been in a medical environment in any way, is also terminology you may hear in conjunction with the living will, because it also directs your family and physicians on what you want medically. Now, my advanced directive is a whole different ball game. And it just says, do not. And this is why I don't mind having interns around me, people who want to be naturopaths and do this work, because I need you to come up in the ranks, because you're going to be the one to care for me. All the stuff that I taught you, this is what I want for myself should I become unable. All right. And we've got Pat Gale on the phone. I just wanted to say hello to her.
Hello.
Hi, Pat. I am well, thank you. Tell us your title.
Yes.
You're Senior Director.
I am the Senior Counselor here at the Lincoln Beverly Oak Hill Cemetery. I do all prearranged and at-need burials and prearranged for families at any of the Dignity cemeteries or funeral homes.
Okay, we're going to talk more to Pat about how we met and our encounter and why she's even here today. Quite interesting. Now, Sylvia, what issues have you seen that are most prevalent in the Black community when it comes to insurance?
So oddly enough, when I began considering a career, I used my experience with my father's illness because my father died when I was 48. He died when I was 19. I buried him on my 20th birthday. He had a brain aneurysm that burst and left him in hemiparalysis for about 3.5 years. And additional complications resulted from him being disabled for that time period. He began to have his arteries began to just kind of like block, and he eventually would have a heart attack. And so, but I watched his care during that time. It was 1996, and this was before there were lifetime. This is during the time that there were lifetime maximums. And so, he had been so sick for such a time period that he reached his mandatory maximum of health care, and he was thrown out of the hospital. And he was thrown out of the hospital in the middle of a rainstorm, and in Nashville, Tennessee.
Oh my goodness.
Yep. And he had just had the final heart surgery where they took a stent from his left ankle and put it into his heart. And he had been in the hospital for about 3 days. The care ran out and they put him out and put him into a hospice care. He developed a fever. He developed septic shock. And within about 72 hours, my father was dead. And I remember that mandatory maximum as being a part of the conversation that I had with the social worker who's responsible for his case. And I always said to myself, like, I had never heard of mandatory maximums before in healthcare before this. Yes. But again, I was 16 years old when my father was ill. I was 19 and a half when he died, and I buried him on my 20th birthday. And so I had never had these conversations before. But I said to myself, when I start my career, this is something that I want to address. And that's what led me into the insurance field. And so, you know, I honestly, there are so many things in the Black community that we can talk about when we address how we care for ourselves, how we get to the insurance discussion. Fortunately, my father had life insurance. So I was well taken care of. My father had been in the military. So I was well taken care of by the military until I turned 23 and a half. And I was also cared for by my father had prepared for the end of life.
There you go.
And so I was able to finish out my education, start a career, buy a car. I lived on my own. I did really well in the beginning of my life. And that was important.
Yes.
You know, he considered that. I was an only child, but he had considered what would happen if he were no longer able to be around. And so many of us, I don't think we even consider that. Or we don't want to talk about it.
Well, thank you so much for joining me. It was an absolute pleasure.
Oh my goodness. I can't wait for you to come on my show.
I'm looking forward to it.
Because I can't wait for you to tell your story. Everybody needs to know it.
All right. Well, I'm looking forward to it. Thank you so much. Don't delay on getting insurance and completing your 5 wishes or notes to family document. Think of your family so they are so well cared for and not burdened by an illness or death. Okay? Don't delay. Do it today. I also want to thank the team. I want to thank Tramel on the boards. I want to thank IW, production manager, my digital chick, MJ, Mahogany, and Winter on the video. I could do any of this. You all keep it all together for me. I appreciate you and love you deeply. Please continue this conversation with me on Twitter at Ask the Good Doc, on Instagram and Facebook at Ask the Good Doctor. That does it for me. Remember to let your eyes shine, cut back on the wine, get good food fast, and go easy on the greasy. I'm Dr.LaJoyce Brookshire, here to help you attain and reclaim your perfect health. Let's do it again next week, okay?